Welcome to the Psychology and Physical Training channel. Have you ever wondered why you can focus on a single voice in a crowded room full of chattering people? This is a phenomenon known as attention. Attention is an intriguing concept that plays a significant role in our daily lives. It is the process of selectively focusing on specific information in our environment and ignoring the rest. Think of it like a spotlight in a dark theater. Wherever the beam of light goes, that's where your focus lies, while the rest of the stage remains in the shadows. But why is attention so important? Well, we're constantly bombarded with a vast amount of information. There's the ticking of a clock, the rustling of leaves, the hum of a refrigerator, the color of the walls, the temperature of the room, and so much more. Our brain, however, can't process all this information at once. It needs to sort through the noise and focus on the most relevant bits. That's where attention comes in. It helps us filter out the unimportant details and concentrate on what matters. Imagine trying to read a book in a noisy cafe. You might initially notice the background chatter, the clinking of cups, and the whirring of the coffee machine. But as you dive into the story, these sounds fade into the background. Your attention shifts from the bustling cafe to the world within the book. This filtering process is a testament to the power of attention. But attention isn't just about focusing. It also involves ignoring. When we pay attention to something, we're also deciding what to ignore. In the cafe example, you chose to ignore the background noise to focus on your book. This selective ignoring is as crucial as focusing because it helps us avoid information overload. Attention also plays an essential role in memory and learning. When we pay attention to information, we're more likely to remember it. Attention acts as a gatekeeper, determining what gets stored in our memory and what gets discarded. So attention is more than just a simple act of focusing. It's a complex process involving selection, ignoring, and memory. It's an essential tool our brain uses to navigate and make sense of the world around us. In the world of constant stimuli, attention is our brain's way of focusing on what's important. Factors influencing attention. Just like most cognitive processes, attention is influenced by a multitude of factors. Let's dive into some of these key factors that can either enhance or reduce our attention. First up, we have intensity. Think about it. When something is bright, loud, or intense in any other way, it tends to grab our attention. It's like a flashing neon sign in a dark alley. It's hard not to notice it, right? Next, we have size. Larger objects or events naturally draw more attention than smaller ones. Imagine walking through a forest and suddenly you see a towering tree amongst small shrubs. Your eyes are instantly drawn to it, aren't they? Moving on to novelty, this is all about how new or unusual something is. The human brain is wired to notice things that stand out from the norm. If you've ever been in a room and suddenly a clown walks in, I bet you'd notice. Then we have movement. Objects or events that are in motion tend to capture our attention more than those that are static. It's like watching a bird flying across the sky. Your eyes naturally follow it, don't they? Repetition is another key player. When something is repeated, it can either increase our attention because it becomes familiar, or decrease it because it becomes monotonous. Think of your favorite song. The first few times you hear it, you pay a lot of attention. But after the 20th time in a row, you might start to tune it out. Last but not least, we have personal interest. This is perhaps the strongest factor. We pay more attention to things that we are interested in. If you're a fan of soccer, you're more likely to notice a soccer ball in a store than someone who has no interest in the sport. So these are some of the key factors that influence our attention. But remember, it's not just about these individual factors. It's also about the interplay between them. A large, bright, moving object that you're interested in, that's going to grab your attention for sure. So, attention isn't just about focusing, it's also about what draws our focus and keeps us engaged. Types of attention: shifting and division. When it comes to the types of attention, things get a bit more complex. Let's start with shifting attention. Imagine you're engrossed in a good book and suddenly your phone rings. You shift your attention from the book to the phone. That's pretty much what shifting attention is all about. It involves moving our focus from one task or object to another. It's a vital skill that helps us adapt to changing environments and situations. This shift can be voluntary, where we consciously decide to switch focus, or it can be involuntary, triggered by unexpected events or stimuli. Think of it as the brain's spotlight, constantly moving to highlight different areas of our consciousness. Now let's talk about the division of attention, often referred to as multitasking. Ever tried watching TV while also scrolling through your phone? That's a classic example of dividing attention. It involves splitting our focus between multiple tasks at the same time. But here's the catch. Our brains aren't really designed to handle multiple tasks with the same level of attention and efficiency. Some researchers suggest that what we call multitasking is really just rapid shifting of attention. When we think we're multitasking, our brain is actually quickly toggling back and forth between tasks. But why does this matter? Understanding how we shift and divide attention can help us to better manage our focus. It can guide us to structure our tasks in a way that maximizes productivity and reduces cognitive overload. For instance, if you know that your ability to divide attention is limited, you might choose to focus on one task at a time instead of attempting to juggle multiple tasks simultaneously. In short, shifting and dividing attention are two critical skills that allow us to navigate our complex world. Types of attention: span and distraction. Continuing with types of attention, let's now focus on span and distraction. Span of attention, also known as attentional capacity, is the amount of information or the number of objects one can attend to at a given time. Think of your attention as a spotlight. You can only shine it on a limited area at once. That's your span of attention. It's like the RAM in your computer. There's only so much it can process at once before it needs to move on to something else. While we all wish we could pay attention to everything all the time, our brains simply aren't built that way. The span of attention varies from person to person and can be influenced by numerous factors like age, health, and fatigue. For instance, a well-rested young adult might have a larger attention span compared to someone who is tired or older. Now let's pivot to distraction. Distraction of attention happens when irrelevant stimuli or events draw our attention away from the task at hand. These distractions could be external, like a sudden loud noise, or internal, like a wandering thought or a rumbling stomach. Distractions can be particularly detrimental when we're engaged in tasks that require a high level of focus and concentration. The fascinating thing about distractions is that they reveal our brain's inherent conflict between wanting to explore new things and needing to focus on the task at hand. It's a tug of war between novelty and focus, between curiosity and discipline. Now, it's important to remember that distractions aren't inherently bad. They can provide a much-needed break for our brains, especially during long tasks. The key is to manage these distractions effectively to ensure they don't completely derail our focus. The span of attention and distraction are two sides of the same coin, determining how much we can focus and what can break that focus. By understanding these elements, we can better manage our attention, enhancing our productivity and overall cognitive performance. The power of attention. So we've dissected the subject of attention, but what does it all mean? Well, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Attention, as we've discussed, is the process of selectively focusing on information. It's a complex cognitive function that allows us to filter out irrelevant stimuli and concentrate on what matters most. We delved into the factors influencing attention, including intensity, size, novelty, movement, repetition, and contrast. These elements can either pull our focus towards a particular stimulus or push it away, like a puppeteer pulling the strings of our awareness. We also explored the various types of attention: shifting, division, span, and distraction. Shifting attention is like a spotlight, moving from one focus point to another. Division of attention allows us to juggle multiple tasks simultaneously, while the span of attention refers to the amount of information we can attend to at once. And then there's distraction, the unwelcome intruder that often disrupts our concentration. Understanding attention has profound implications in our daily lives and in various fields. In psychology, it helps us understand how people perceive and interact with their environment. In education, it aids in designing teaching strategies that maximize student engagement and learning. And in marketing, it's used to create effective advertising that captures and holds consumers' attention. So, in essence, attention is a powerful tool. It shapes our perception of the world and dictates how we interact with it. It determines what we notice, what we ignore, and ultimately, how we make sense of the world around us. And remember, attention isn't static. It's a dynamic process that changes with our goals, our environment, and even our state of mind. It's not just about focusing on a task or a conversation, but about making meaningful connections with the world around us. So the next time your attention drifts, remember, it's not just a simple act, but a complex process that lets us interact meaningfully with our world. And if you like this video, do not forget to subscribe to the Psychology and Physical Training channel for more videos. Thanks for watching.